For the outsiders, the misfits, or the ones who never quite fit the mold, this is your reading. I was inspired by something that I just recently understood about myself, in that my difference is my magic. So often we can edit, tone down, adapt, or even repress who we are in order to fit in, to find community, and be accepted. But this can put us in a frustrating situation of not feeling truly seen or understood for who we are and what we bring to the table. We might not be able to really offer our gifts to the world because we're hiding them. So this reading will illuminate your difference and turn it from a liability into a gift. My readings tend to go where the real work is, which is not always comfortable, but always useful. So if you're looking for a quick prediction, this might not be the right fit. But if you're ready to notice something or shift something in your life, welcome in. There are 3 soul paths for you to choose from. Choose one or all 3. For those who would like a close-up of the piles today, let me do that right now. For Soul Path 1, we have the Hooded Falcon. For Soul Path 2, we have the Wheelchair. And for Soul Path 3, we have the Shackles. When you feel ready, use your intuition, head into the description to find the timestamps for your reading, and we'll see you over there. For those who chose the Hooded Falcon, welcome into your message. What I'm really picking up on here is this, I want to say the hood that is on the falcon, and the fact that it kind of looks like it is, I don't want to say entrapped, but it's at least within someone's care or control. I feel like a lot of what you've experienced has been very restrictive, and there's an element of self-discipline here. So I think you got really good at being self-disciplined, of hiding certain parts of you away, because you felt like you were not under the control of someone else. Maybe that is a storyline for someone. But there's an expectation of who you needed to be. And you fell in line. But it may not have felt good at times. There were certain parts of you that you couldn't even see, or you forgot, or you couldn't see how to make some kind of decision because you were coming from a place of making decisions from a place of someone else's perspective or expectations rather than your own. So I'm almost getting a little bit of a trapped feeling with this. And a caged in feeling as well, like you didn't have the freedom to express how you wanted. Even though you were a falcon, you were earthbound. And falcons are only earthbound probably when they're feeding. But the other times they are in the air, they are flying, they're stretching their wings, they're up in trees. So I do feel like a big part of you has been hidden for a really long time. So I want to know a few things about your difference, how it's affected you, the repression, how has the repression affected you, or how it's shown up, and then what happens when you fully embrace your difference as a gift, unapologetically. Spirit, what do you have for us for Soul Path 1, please, on their difference? There's that freedom. Okay, that's a little more than I wanted to take, so I'll just take the one that came out first. There's your stuckness. Okay. I feel like your difference is in how you see something, how you reflect on something. What you find pleasurable is different than a lot of people's. There's a sense of you being somewhat of a free spirit here with the Four of Pentacles in reverse and the Six of Cups in reverse. And this is giving me detachment from expectations that, or at least stories that other people have of how things should be done. And there are things that I feel you were told in your childhood, like, this is what you do and this is how you do it. And I feel like it came from a very genuine place, but it just never aligned with you. So I feel like there's a lot of playfulness, a lot of freedom. It's like you haven't stopped exploring and creating and having that wonder for life. And there's just a free spirit about you, free spiritedness about you, which reflects back to that hooded falcon card. And the Eight of Swords is like, you don't want to be caged in the reverse. You don't want to have things put upon you. You don't want to feel like you are limited. You want to be free. Free in your expression, free in your emotions, free in your creativity. And the Three of Swords in reverse, I feel like you have partly avoided this because you don't want to disappoint other people that you might care about. You don't want to maybe share your truth fully because you know that it's going to hurt someone and you don't want to hurt someone. You don't want to have a traditional way of living, a traditional way of making money. You want to be free to explore. You want to be free to get curious and wonder. You don't want to be attached to the past stories or the things that you were told in your past. You want to be free of that. And that is your gift, is to be, I feel like you're a very adventurous spirit. You want to try everything once. You want to kind of move with some kind of flow here. You don't want to have rules in how you express, when you express, why you express. You just want to go with what you feel intuitively guided to do. You don't want to follow a routine. I feel like you feel routines are boring to you. You want to see where the wind takes you. So we'll get a couple of cards. So when you repressed this, it really, I feel that like there was a lot of reactivity within you, or a lot of triggers, or a lot of criticism. And I feel this could be internal criticism, but this could be criticism from others as well. It's like you constantly had to keep this side of you hidden. And it really, we've got the Four of Wands in reverse at the bottom here, along with the Tower card in reverse. I think it internally really disrupted what you wanted to build and create for yourself. There's a real stifling energy that I'm getting from this. And from that place comes reactivity, comes anger, comes all kinds of stuff that may not be a genuine expression or something that you are proud of. But it's almost like you feel you have no other choice. This is the only way that people can actually understand, is when you get loud, when you say things that you might not mean. There's a definite misunderstanding or miscommunications here, and I feel like you're constantly feeling like you are not being understood, and it's preventing you from, or maybe it has guided you towards building something that was not your own, of engaging in something that was not your own, and building up a foundation that felt faulty or felt like a false idea or a false belief, something that wasn't true to you. You went in a direction that didn't feel clear, that didn't feel honest. And I just feel like there's a lot of shame, there's a lot of criticism, self-criticism that came with this suppression. There's a lot of things that you wanted to change but couldn't. So again, coming back to that caged energy. And I feel like this really affected you personally, internally, emotionally, energetically, creatively. It almost ate you up on the inside. So what happens when you embrace it unapologetically? We have the Two of Pentacles in the upright here, with the Six of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, you stop pleasing. You stop putting your energy into people that aren't going to reciprocate, that aren't going to support, that aren't going to give you the time of day. You're going to see that for what it is more clearly. And I also think that you're going to be a lot choosier with who you spend your time with, how you spend your money. And you're going to focus on what is important to you. What are the things that you want to carry moving forward? What are the things, what are the values that are non-negotiable for you? And there's a real focus with this. There's a real practice element. Juggling, you don't necessarily pick up right away. So this is something that you have to focus on for a period of time. And maybe do over and over again. Make a few mistakes along the way. But I feel you're committed to that process. And really weighing your options in that process. Weighing your friendships, the people who you spend time with. How you make your money. I feel like this repression, this difference, the repression of this difference has put you on a path that you now have to correct. So you might be coming to this reading because you are at this moment of course correction, and this is the way forward, is to be more choosy, prioritize things that are more important to you. What are those things? Spend some time identifying those things, especially in the context of feeling caged and grounded. What does it look like to you to be free? What does that feel like? How would you like to express yourself? What kinds of things would you be doing with your time? Or what would you be doing to make money if you were in this fullest expression of who you are and embracing your difference as a gift? What would your life look like? Now, I do think that there is this element of balance here with the Two of Pentacles. So it may not be this full-fledged, here I am world, I'm ready to go. I feel like this is a bit of a back and forth with maybe what you've been taught or your conditioning, and moving forward in very slow, mindful steps of expressing yourself in ways that are new to you, but also feel natural to you. So expressing your differences a little bit more each time. So it is a process. It's not going to happen overnight, because I do feel like this has been something you've learned to do, is repress and then shame yourself for this difference or gift. So it will be a little bit of a balance, and you will be balancing maybe these two identities for a time. And depending on context, you might be balancing these identities for a time as you get more comfortable in the clothes that you were always meant to wear. So this is what I have for you, my dear Soul Path 1. Let me know what you're taking away from this reading. Comment below. I would love to read it. And if you're sensing that there's a little bit more to unpack here, check out the links in the description where you can join my inner circle or receive more personalized guidance with a one-on-one reading. Take care, and I'll see you soon. For those who chose the wheelchair, this message is for you. You might feel that your difference is a liability, is even a disability. But there's something about your knowledge, your wisdom, gleaned from some kind of experience in your life that you are offering or can offer to the world based on your lived experience. I feel there's some kind of tool here that you could use to help you bring this forward. I don't know what that is. But what tools do you have at your disposal to allow your difference to shine through here? And using this difference as a gift rather than a liability. This also could be a perception shift that is required. And flipping that script a little, how you perceive your difference. How you can embrace it and welcome it and accept it as a part of who you are. So there's a wholeness aspect here. What are some of the ways that you can communicate with others that can share some kind of wisdom or tell a story? You'll have to let me know in the comments what this might be, Soul Path 2. Very curious, but let's see what the tarot has to say about this difference. About this difference. See? We have the Five of Cups, Six of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, it's like there's a sense of unfairness here with the Six of Pentacles in reverse. It's like maybe you don't get the time of day because of some restriction or limitation that you're working with or working under or working within. There may be an element of you not receiving help as well, or not wanting help, or an element of you helping others too much and not getting that same effort in return. And so there's a disempowerment that I'm getting with that Six of Pentacles in reverse. But now we have the Five of Cups, the Two of Swords, and the Ace of Wands. I feel like this difference has had you grieving for a really long time and in a space of indecision. There's a crossroads of what you believe you should be doing. There's an expectation or maybe an obligation, maybe what is the logical approach to this thing, limitations on what you can and can't do, and then what your intuition is telling you, which could be very different. So there's an energy of grief on one side and something that may feel out of reach. And then there's just this fiery passion and this desire to do something epic. So again, we have the swords. Got a little bit of everything here. So I feel this affects multiple aspects of who you are, both in how you spend your time, how you take action, how you make decisions, the emotions that you might feel. Whatever this difference is very layered and possibly very complex. But there is a glimmer of inspiration here, which you might not be able to see because it's actually behind you. Specifically when we were looking at this card, the wheelchair card. So you have to change your perspective here. There is a perspective shift that is required in order for you to see this thing not as something to grieve forever, but look at the Two Cups that is within reach. What are those things? It might not be what you expect. It might not be the way you thought it might look or feel, but they're there. So again, I'm just getting a lot of perspective shifting here. And there's a new creative project that wants to come to life. And I feel you could be very creative, but there's this sense of not allowing yourself to be passionate, to be joyful, to follow your intuition. to express yourself in some way. We have the Nine of Wands in reverse and the Queen of Wands in the upright. More Wands energy with the Hermit in reverse at the bottom of the deck there. So repressing this difference of yours could prevent you or may have prevented you from healing something, getting over something, and really feeling empowered. I feel there's an essence of you giving up just when you were ready to see success. It's almost like imposter syndrome came in and said, who do you think you are? And so you backed away, you backed down. And maybe there could be an element of fatigue or exhaustion here as well. So you didn't have the will, the drive, the aspiration to push forward, to keep going. So there's a disempowerment, a lack of motivation, but also because the Queen is in the upright, you still have the confidence. You still have that drive. It's just parked right now. And maybe you've forgotten about it because you've made some kind of decision of this isn't for me. But your soul is telling me a different story here, Soul Path 2. And you may have had somebody around you with this Queen of Wands energy that may have had really high expectations of you. And you might have not been able to live up to those expectations. They might have been really challenging. This could be a boss. So if it's work related, they may have pressured you to do things that maybe you didn't have the energy for, the passion for, the capacity for. And so you've internalized that because of their judgment, because of you not living up to their sense of who you should be. That really took the fire out of your belly. The Hermit in reverse. It's almost as if you were forced to be something that you were not. You were forced to, I wouldn't say forced. That feels like a very aggressive word. You were encouraged to do things that didn't feel natural or comfortable to you. This could be public speaking, for example. This could be visibility, some kind of visibility that you weren't comfortable with. And it's interesting, sharing the wisdom is coming back here with this Hermit in reverse. This is about being seen. But in the repressed energy, it's either not possible or unavailable because you're, I wouldn't say hiding, but there's this element of not engaging with that energy because maybe you feel someone else can do it better. But again, with this Hermit in reverse, it's like step out and share. Step out and create. Step out and be seen. I feel like you have a lot to offer to the world. And that is a gift. The gift might not have shown up in the way that you thought it would, and that could be that Two of Cups there. That doesn't mean that it's not potent and important. And that doesn't mean it won't impact people. Yeah, you're trying to reach for something that I feel others are doing or others expect you to do. And of course, you're never going to live up to that standard because that is not you. It's not maybe your dream, your vision, your goal. But it's also not your standards. It's not what you desire. So of course you're going to have trouble making decisions because it's not truly soul aligned here. But there is something that's soul aligned. So what happens when you embrace this difference unapologetically, you get the fire back in your belly. You start fighting back. you start rebelling in some kind of way, but not in a negative way of rebelling for rebellion's sake. This is saying, you know what? I deserve a place here. I deserve to take up room. I deserve to share, to create just like everyone else. I don't need a PhD. I don't need certain things that you think you might need in order to do the thing that you want to do. You are enough as you are here, in whatever this difference is. And we have the Lovers in reverse. Now, this can be about a desire being repressed, or one of the two aspects of yourself going offline. So, divine feminine would be receiving, would be feeling, would be resting, relaxing, being. And the divine masculine would be the reason for doing something, or having the reason to do something, taking initiative, being willful in that expression, seeing momentum, moving forward. I feel like that divine masculine has been taken offline, but you're getting it back. It's all a matter of whether or not you are willing to light your torch on whatever fire that you have within you. I feel the passion or the desire hasn't died. It's the way in which you are moving towards that or executing something. Let it be your own way. Even if it's small, even if it's not out in public, but just do a little bit here and there and see how it feels to reconnect with that part of you that has been an ember for so long. What is it like to stoke that flame again and build that fire? I would be curious to know, Soul Path 2. This is where I'm going to leave it. Let me know what shifted. I would love to hear in the comments. And if you're sensing that there's a little more to unpack here, check out the links in the description where you can join my inner circle or receive more personalized guidance with a one-on-one reading. Take care, and I'll see you soon. For those who chose Soul Path 3, welcome into your message. The Shackles. This is a devil card in the traditional tarot. I don't think your difference has anything to do with addiction. I think it has to do with your devotion or commitment to something that is almost obsessive. And it could be very alternative. It could be something that is a little taboo. But you have been held back from some kind of, whatever your difference is, you've felt very handcuffed to something, chained to something, held back. It's almost like something that you're doing people deem to be satanic or associated with evil. And maybe you have been shunned or ostracized or put out by your community, your family, your friends. But I don't get evil here at all. I don't get devil. I don't get evil. I don't get hateful. I just get something that you are incredibly passionate about. This could be shadow work. This could be deep, dark psychology. This could be witchcraft. This could be the occult. Any number of things. But I feel you're a very curious person, and there's just such a devotion to that, such a passion. And that may not necessarily be a bad thing. If it affects your health, if it affects other people negatively, then that might be something to look at and question and check in with yourself with. So I will say that because it is the devil card. We do have to make sure that what we are being passionate about, committed to, and dedicated to isn't something that takes away from our personal health and well-being or affects others negatively. It should come from a place of love, of care, of genuine interest, but also balance and moderation. Be interested to see if the temperance comes through. So 2 of Swords in reverse. I feel you've really wrestled with this for a long time. And you may have had a lot of anxiety about it. But I almost wonder if that is part of why you feel different in the first place, is that your past experiences has really colored your path and created some kind of different way of thinking, different way of doing. There's social justice coming through here with this, so you could be someone that is an advocate for others, that protests, that is connected to activism. And maybe a lot of people in your circle are offended by that. Maybe you get into a lot of fights about politics and religion and the things that should be fair, but aren't. And I think at one point this did stress you out, but that was almost all the more reason to double down. But I also feel with this 2 of Swords at the bottom of the deck that you're at some kind of crossroads here of, do I continue engaging with futile arguments and disagreements and people that have no interest in understanding or listening? And do I just do my thing? So I feel this difference is, I'm seeing a salmon swim upstream. It's very different than how you were raised, how your circle or community thinks. You want to create positive change and an impact, but it's been really difficult because it might mean some really difficult decisions that come along with that. So your difference, while it might be a gift, it's also making you feel like you are forever chained to be engaged in fights and conflict, especially with the people that you care about, of having to manage your stress at all times, of having to fight for justice. This feels very exhausting. And that's part of the job and part of what you're passionate about. But you almost wonder, is it worth it? So your difference is a challenging one, my dear Soul Path 3. So how repressing this is affecting you. I feel like you might be repressing it because you don't want to make certain decisions. You don't want to keep fighting. Okay, Page of Cups. There's a lot of cup energy here. Just going to point that out. There's 2 references to childhood. And there's 8 of Cups, which is abandonment or moving on from something that feels incomplete or unfinished to find what fulfills you truly. Now, by repressing this difference, there's a certain element of being attached to some kind of childhood connection, childhood emotion, childhood memory that you may not want to be connected to, that you may want to disengage with. There's this feeling of feeling emotionally ready to leave, but actually not feeling completely detached from it. And a sense of you wanting to explore, wanting to share love, wanting to be compassionate, wanting to move with your heart, and feeling like the only way that you can do that is to leave a lot of your heart behind and a lot of your past behind, to do something that truly fulfills you and makes you feel good, that makes you feel proud, that even makes your inner child feel proud, or at least feel good in some way. So by repressing it, it's almost as if that becomes more clear, or you'll at least feel disharmonious in some kind of past connection. It's like you'll keep looping and feeling unsatisfied with where you are, knowing that it doesn't fit, knowing that it might not be able to sustain itself, but kind of sticking with it anyway, even though it's emotionally unsatisfying, emotionally draining. It's like, yeah, I know that emotionally I've detached from this thing, but I'm still here, and that can be a really weird feeling. There's your Two of Swords again. So what happens when you embrace your difference? You get to this crossroads that we were talking about earlier. It's Two of Swords, the conditioned beliefs, the things that I should be doing, I need to be doing in order to maybe stay connected to relationships. But then there's the intuition that says we must move forward, we must move on, we must do what we need to do. We must break out of these shackles in order to be the most effective for ourselves, but also for others. And that's a real stalemate that you get to here. And it's almost like you can't think your way through this. You almost have to feel your way through this, not just with the emotions and the feelings, because sometimes those can be a little wrong in the sense where, we feel sad or uncomfortable, and that means that this decision is incorrect that we're wanting to make. But really, it's just grief. It's something that has to do with letting go, not embracing something new. So just because something feels uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's the wrong choice. Maybe a tough choice, but it may not be a wrong choice. And moving with your intuition as well. And what's interesting is that this is associated with the Libra card. So this is about peace, justice, again. But rather than it be in someone else's hands, it's in your hands now. How will you create peace with some kind of decision that you have to make? You might not be able to make peace with whatever the situation is, but how can you make peace within yourself? Or what are some ways that you can start doing that? Because we may not always know the how. And I feel like once you embrace who you truly are, your bigger purpose of why you're doing something, I feel like you're going to be put onto a new path. I feel like you're going to put a lot down and start realigning with some kind of value that you've forgotten or that you have put aside to be able to fight the good fight here. And maybe fight for yourself, fight for you to be accepted in some way. King of Pentacles, wow. Underneath the Page of Pentacles in reverse. So it's like you're no longer playing small. You're no longer overlooking opportunities. You're going for something big here. Like, this is full bore. King of Pentacles. I'm going to build a business. I'm going to build an empire. I'm going to build a legacy. I'm going to do something bigger than what I'm expected to do. What I feel that I could do, let's do more. So again, that double down energy is coming back into play. Because maybe you don't want others to feel this way. And so I feel who you're helping is someone similar to who you used to be. And you don't just do it, but you create something pretty big from it. And that is the gift in this difference. By embracing this difference, is that you can create some great things. You can create stability, structure, comfort for not just yourself, but others. You can make people feel seen and heard. You can value people in a way that maybe they don't feel valued. And you can value yourself in that process. So, pretty big stuff, Soul Path 3. I'm going to leave it here for now. Let me know how that helped. I would love to hear in the comments. And if you're sensing there's a little more to unpack here, check out the links in the description where you can join my inner circle or receive more personalized guidance in a one-to-one session. Take care, and I'll see you soon.